So let's say you want to move to Costa Rica and you're wondering, how do you go about getting bank accounts? In this video, I'm going to tell you what I think is the easiest and fastest way to get your bank accounts, and that is to set up a company. Now, here in Costa Rica, there's two main types of companies, and I might be pronouncing this wrong. I don't speak very good Spanish yet, but the first one is Sociedad Anónima, and the initials, you'll usually see that as SA. That's like the limited liability version of a company that you might find elsewhere. So instead of limited LTD on the end, you're going to see usually SA. Now the other one is SR. I don't even know what that stands for. I don't have any experience in that. But the SA one, that's the most common here in Costa Rica. To set up a company, it's quite easy. You don't need to be a resident. You can go find any attorney, and there's a lot of attorneys here. For example, if you go to a popular beach tourist town like Jaco, walk along the main streets 40-50 meters and you'll see attorneys all around you. They are everywhere. There are a dime a dozen here. But you'll find an attorney and you'll ask, can you set up a Sociedad Anónima corporation for me? And they're going to charge you anywhere from maybe $300 up to $1,000. That's going to take maybe a few weeks to set up. It's been a number of years since I set up one personally for myself. I did in the past, but I haven't had the need to do it anytime recently. But once you have that set up, there's going to need to be two main shareholders on that. That's my understanding as well. Obviously, I'm not a lawyer, so go and find a lawyer if you want to get the most up-to-date information on this. But once you've got that set up, then going to a bank and getting a corporate bank account, that's quite easy to do. Now, as for the main banks here in Costa Rica, one of your main ones is going to be Banco Nacional, or BN, Banco Nacional. That's a very common one. You've got BCR, Bank of Costa Rica. You've got BAC. I don't know what BAC stands for, but that's also a very popular one here. You've got Banco Popular. There's a few other ones. I don't really have experience with the other ones, but those are your four main ones, and you're going to see them everywhere, especially Banco Nacional and BAC. They're very common. But if you walk into one of these banks, and let's say you don't speak a word of Spanish, usually there's going to be one person in that bank, a bank teller, who does speak some English, okay? And so you're going to tell them that you've got this company set up. Ideally, if your lawyer could come along with you, that's going to make everything 10 times easier to do. But you're going to show them your corporate documents, and they're going to be able to set up a bank account for you. Of course, you're going to need to bring your passport, things like that, but they'll set up the bank account. And again, it's been a while since I've done this myself, a number of years, so I can't tell you exactly how long it will take, but by memory, I think it was within a few weeks. I don't think it took a really long time at all. Now, once you have that bank account set up, you can get that in US dollars and colones, Costa Rican colones. That's the currency they have here. Dollars are very common here, so it's very common in all the banks. It's quite easy to get a US dollar account set up. But once you have that, getting a personal bank account, it's easy, and you'll probably be able to set up a personal bank account at the same time as that corporate bank account. Now, with your personal bank account, when you do set that up, getting a debit card after that is going to be very straightforward and quick as well. So you can get a Visa debit card, you can get a MasterCard debit card. Getting an actual credit card, that is much harder. That's something I don't really have experience in. I've asked about it before, and it was a long process, and I decided it wasn't even worth it. I think by memory you had to deposit the amount that you wanted to have on credit. For example, if you wanted to have $10,000, you had to put in $10,000, and then you could use that to have $10,000 in credit, something like that. But I remember asking about it, and it wasn't even worth the trouble. So for most of what you need, a debit card is going to be more than sufficient. You can use that debit card to buy things online, Facebook ads, Amazon, buy whatever you want from Amazon. They work just fine. So a debit card is usually all you need. Now, as for the online banking, there's a wide variety of different experiences. So for example, for one of the more popular banks, which is Banco Nacional, currently they don't have that in English. So you'll log in, everything's going to be in Spanish. You'll get used to that. If you don't speak Spanish, you'll have to learn what basic things are in the menu, and again, usually they'll be able to show you when you set all of this up at the bank. There'll be one person who speaks English there usually, and they'll show you everything you need to know how to do. So sending transfers, it's quite easy. If you want to send transfers overseas, that is a little bit more difficult with Banco Nacional. Sending small amounts, in my experience, they don't allow that. So if you want to send a few $100s overseas, you can't do that the last time I checked. But if you want to send larger amounts, you can do that. When I say larger amounts, I'm talking in several $1,000s and up. Now, the other main popular bank is BAC. Now, BAC have a much better online banking, in my opinion, and you can get that translated in English. So there's a little button you can click, you can put everything in English. If you don't speak Spanish, that's going to be a big help. BCR also has very good online banking. So those are your main banks. You could go and set up bank accounts at several or just one, really depends on what you want to do. But that's how you go about setting up a bank account. I don't know, I'm just being honest with you here, I don't know if you can walk into one of these banks and just being a foreigner, just come to Costa Rica, walk into a bank, show your passport and get a personal bank account. I've heard of people being able to do that, but I don't know if you can do that these days. But I do know that if you set up a corporation here, going and getting a bank account, it is relatively easy. So that's it for today's episode. If you want more information, more advice on moving to Costa Rica, just the everyday things, head on over to movingtocostarica.com. This is a website where we have a lot of articles, a lot of videos about all aspects of moving to Costa Rica. That's it from me today, and I'll see you tomorrow.